So you're absolutely loving your new designer Ruby Royale. The stitches, you are stitching them out and finding fun ones that you love to stitch. There's a couple things that you could do, such as saving them to a special menu called My Stitches. What we have is, let's say, for example, number 1, you always use this stitch much smaller and much shorter. So you're always taking, or maybe you made a little sticky note, to remind yourself that your setting that you love is stitch width of 3 and stitch length 4.5. Instead of keeping those sticky notes close by, save those into your Save to My Stitches area. I touched that little heart there. I have no stitches saved yet. So when I want to save a stitch, touch position, an empty position, so that one's going to go into position 1, and touch OK. Another stitch that I often use is from my Applique Menu, one of the blanket stitches. Now notice with this stitch, I find that when I go to it, and there's different settings for different fabrics, but I always make it to 3 wide and 3 long. That's my favorite setting for this particular stitch. So I can also save that into My Stitches. Let's put that in position 2. Touch OK. And you can do this for as many stitches as you'd like. Maybe on this project you're using a couple different stitches and you want to, instead of going from menu to menu to menu to get to all these stitches, save them all into your stitches. And then that way they're all on one screen. So let's say we're going to do a satin stitch, but we're going to make this a little narrower and a little shorter because you're using finer thread, for example. Touch the My Stitches button, and we'll save that into position 3. So we're going to touch OK. We're back to our regular menu of stitches that the machine has. So how do we get to those saved stitches? Go up to the stitch menu, and do you notice in the second column there is a heart, and it is letter U. I always think of it as you, your menu. So touch that. And there are your 3 stitches saved at the settings you chose. That one was a little smaller. This one was a little bigger, and that satin stitch was shortened for the thread you're using. So between all these stitches, I can just go ahead. They're all on one screen. How easy is that? You can just touch them as needed. Now, when you need to maybe delete stitches, you don't need them anymore, the project is done, you can touch the stitch and, actually I don't want to replace it. I want to go ahead and touch the trash can and touch this stitch. And it says delete it, and OK would delete it. Now notice that the trash can has that little arrow to the lower right corner. That means if I touch and hold the trash can, delete all stitches from My Stitches. Yes, and that will take everything away. But that way you can keep it kind of fresh, and as needed, you can pick the stitches that you want to use for your project, just what you need at your fingertips. But once again, if you have stitches you're always manipulating, why don't you save them there? And then that way they're always set for you. I love that you can override the settings of this machine and keep them exactly where you want. Everything in My Stitches is saved even after the machine has been turned off. You'll be able to find those stitches right in the U menu.